Begin transmission. Hello, everybody. It is Chris, Ben, and Milton here with Outer Rim Transmission, episode 222. We are live for real this time. Right off the bat, I want to acknowledge, sorry about last week, everybody. We had some technical difficulties. We had a really fun discussion, me and Ben, and unfortunately, the recording was just completely lost. So we basically talked about the Super Bowl spot for The Mandalorian. But tonight we're actually talking about the real trailer. We were fortunate enough to get a real trailer after just badgering that freaking fiasco of a commercial the last time. So we're back. We're better than ever. We're back in action. First of all, we missed you last week, but maybe it was best that you weren't on here. But we had a good conversation anyway. But how's it going, Milton?
I heard it was pretty exciting experience last week for you guys. But no, I'm good, man. It's glad to be back on the podcast talking, obviously, Star Wars and the new trailer. Now things are going great, except for now we have some snow falling over here in Pennsylvania. My wife works for a school, so she already has a 2-hour delay tomorrow, and I know she's hoping for school closure. So we'll see what happens as the snow lays throughout the evening. But other than that, though, it's going well. I'm excited to talk about this trailer, and let's go from there.
Wow, to not actually have off. I mean, at least I'm a little bit further east than you are, so I think we are getting more. But I'm projected to get almost like 18 inches over here with blizzard,
Oh, wow.
60-mile-an-hour conditions. So I'm going. There's no way I'm going to work
Yeah.
tomorrow. I don't know if anybody at my
I
job,
have to
like
ask,
boss
I have
wise,
to
is
ask you about my
listening.
wife. Her sister lives in Mount Laurel, New Jersey, so I want to see what things are projected down there also.
Yeah, I think definitely where the shore house is on the coast, they're gonna get actual 2 feet of snow.
Mm.
That's
It's
gonna be
crazy.
insane. So we're dealing with literally Hoth out there. How you doing on your end, Ben?
Good, good. Similar conditions. I think one summary after 200 plus episodes, I'm sure our viewers can appreciate that not just being a Star Wars podcast, we are also a weekly weather report update as well, a lot of times during this time of year. So that's always fun. But yeah, I'm getting hit with the same thing. It's starting to snow over here and then, getting on here to talk some Star Wars after we pretty much, had our own little off-air Star Wars conversation about the Super Bowl trailer last week, and now it's time to at least talk about the real trailer that I think we were all wanting. So it'll be a really good time talking about this one, and it was a good week. Had a good week in Star Wars for me.
Mm-hmm.
I just had a lot of back and forth with one of my other Star Wars YouTube friends, Commander Jesse. Me and him were talking. I mean, Milton would have really enjoyed our discussion we had. Like, we just had like an ongoing back and forth on Instagram all week, just talking about like the games from the early 2000s LucasArts era. Like, we were talking about a lot of Revenge of the Sith. We were talking about Battlefront 1 and 2 a lot. We were talking about a lot of those games pretty much on and off this entire week. So that was just a fun little week in Star Wars for me, just really going back and forth, like having a nice discussion about those games from that era. And the one conclusion that we came to from all those games, I think that I think is one of the most underappreciated points of that era was from the original Battlefront game, was when you go to Tatooine, you don't just have the Empire or Rebels there. You also have like the third faction. You have the Tuskens there. Like, you can literally take over the Tusken camp. They can take over command posts. Literally, we were talking about it. Like, there were points in Battlefront where like you could like almost take out the Empire, and like the Tuskens, it would end up taking over the Imperial command post, where it would just be like Rebels versus Tuskens essentially. So that was always a fun part of that Battlefront, was like the actual non Imperial enemies that were on the certain planets, like the Tuskens or Ewoks or whatever. So we were just having a good discussion about that stuff.
I had no idea that. I don't have a lot of memory. I mean, I was far away. I mean, long time ago, but I don't remember the Tusk Invaders as their own faction. That seems kind of chaotic. You
Yeah,
have these
because
three different entities going at
basically
it.
basically the OG Tatooine map. You had Mos Eisley as one map, and then you had the Dune Sea as the other one. And the Dune Sea was really cool because the command posts were the Sandcrawler, Obi-Wan's hut, There was one like kind of on the outskirts, and then the other command post you had the Sarlacc pit in between, which literally would reach its slug tentacles out and grab people.
Whoa.
But then above the Sarlacc, if you go up a mountain, at the top of the mountain was the full Tusken Raider camp. Literally, there was like, I don't know, 15 different like tents, and you could go through the Tusken Raider camp and come out the backside, and you come out around the backside of the Jawa Sandcrawler, so it would circle around the map. And like basically, you could overtake the Tusken camp, or like they could eventually overtake the Imperial camps as well. So it was like its own third AI faction that was like viable. So that was always one of the coolest parts about that map in that original Battlefront game.
No, that sounds awesome. And yeah, I would have to. I want to boot up that game one of these days because it's always being talked about to this day, 20 something years later, right? And it's I did try to play it, to be fair, and then the collection that came out didn't have inverted controls for some reason, and I just said this sucks, and I'm never going to get a refund. So
Yeah. No, I think that what's interesting about that, my brother and I just yesterday we were talking about the Star Wars movies and stuff like that. And what's nice about this IP is that you can always have a discussion with anyone at any time about the property. Whether it's games, the books, the movies, whatever. I think it's fascinating that, you can just know someone for a couple days, and the moment you mention Star Wars, either he or she is super knowledgeable and a nerd like you, or there's someone who's like, I disagree with your points of view and let's have a discussion about it. I think that's what's nice about this particular property, that you can always have a discussion with anyone, whether it's someone who lives in the States with you or someone who lives in a foreign country. I'm sure, Chris, you've experienced it by going to the Star Wars celebrations internationally. I'm sure. Well, I mean, we have friends of the podcast, with Hannah who lives in
Jesse's from Australia too.
We have the guy itself who lives in Canada from the Star Wars Underground. Like, even though we're separated by thousands and hours of time and miles when it comes to where we live, we all can have a positive discussion. We can all disagree about Star Wars. We can have probably a adversarial discussion here or there, but it's all out of fun and love. But that's what's nice about this property, that you can talk to anyone, no matter where you come from, about this property. I think that's what unites people together. So it's cool that you can have those discussions, Ben, with your friends, and even Chris, when you talk to the people in your other podcasts. Like, that's dope. So I that's what I love about Star Wars, is that you can just talk to anyone about it, good, bad, or indifferent.
Well, Milton, like I was telling Chris last week on our Lost podcast, I guess, my girlfriend, she's seen Star Wars in passing in the background, and she's never sat down to watch it in a dedicated fashion. But, for Valentine's weekend, she got me a Stormtrooper blanket. It's like a fleece, and, it's just literally printed with Stormtrooper heads. And she was like, hey, I know this says Star Wars on it. I figured you'd like it. And I was like, yeah, definitely. So, even people who haven't seen it, they know what it is.
Right.
Yeah, it's pretty great to just see how everybody is. Like Milton was saying, everything about, we're speaking at this from across all different walks of life, everywhere. Like I always talk about like work and everything. Hey, there's a couple people at work. Some people are super casual. One of my coworkers is actually really into weeds and knows all the things about the directors and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, oh, this is great, because we can really talk, get into the details here.
Right.
So,
yeah. And it's funny though, because at my work, I work with attorneys and stuff like that on the side, and we hired this new solicitor attorney about a couple months ago. And when I went into her office for the first time, she's a huge Star Wars head. And I didn't notice until I walked in. She has Grogu little minifigures and I think Funko Pops and some Lego sets of Star Wars in her office. And I was like, oh, she's a nerd like me. She just has she's an attorney. So she walked into my office the one day. I needed her to meet me for something. And she's like, oh, so I guess I fit into this office, Milton, because she literally walks into my office. I have a 1980s Empire Strikes Back poster in my office.
ooh,
I have movie quotes behind me. And I have
Nice.
another Star Wars thing somewhere in my office. But she's like, "Oh, I fit into this." She's like, "I can tell I can fit into this office because
That's
of
awesome.
whatever." And I was like, "Yeah." I'm like, Karen, like the moment I saw the stuff in your office, I was like, "Yeah, you're cool." Like, I don't care where you come from. You speak the Star Wars language, we're gonna be okay.
Exactly.
So it's just funny how we all come from different walks of life, not only just our own individual lives, but our career backgrounds. And it's like, oh yeah, like attorneys are nerds too on the low.
Heck yeah, heck yeah. It's gonna be more and more like that, right? I think, especially with the Gen Xers, millennials.
Mhm.
The Gen Xers grew up with the '80s cartoons and all the Transformers and all that sort of stuff, and here we
Yeah,
are growing up with Star Wars and Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter. Like, it's permeating now. It's not out of the
right.
ordinary to find pretty much everybody has the little thing, but
No, and,
so
and that's
yeah.
and that's what's nice though about it because I mean, look at I guess 30 years ago, no, 40 years ago, what was it cool reading comic books? I mean, yes, but then also no too, because I'm sure people kind of kept it on the hush hush. They don't want
Yeah.
people to know that they're nerds. Now no one cares. They're like, hey, like
Well,
every big movie out there is a superhero film, like or a Star Wars or a Tron or a Harry Potter. So now
yep.
it's just culturally accepted to kind of be a part of that. You're kind of weird if you're not a part of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's
Well, Milton, I have a firsthand experience of it. One of our listeners, one of my friends, Alex, he always is listening to the podcast, and growing up, we've been lifelong friends, and all through school, I remember when we were in elementary, in middle school, in high school, he was always like poked fun at, oh, the guy who's always carrying around Star Wars books, yada yada yada, people making fun of him and stuff, because he was
Mhm.
one of those people who collected literally every Legends book and read everything. Like he was my Legends rental service back then. Essentially, I was like, "Hey, when you're done with that book, just pass it over to me." And that people always made fun of him and stuff. And now, like you said, it's completely flipped on its head, where it's like, "Hey, if you're not at least somewhat into nerd culture a little bit, you're kind of the outsider now."
Right. Right. And again, I never want to make that a negative to anybody,
No, no, that's
but
not a negative. It's just
again,
you. It's
no, no,
just
no. I agree.
yeah,
That's what I'm saying. Like I think now it's more just accepted and as part of our culture.
yep.
Is like if you're not into it, nothing's wrong with you, but it's like, what's up with you? You know what I'm saying? Like, don't
Well,
you not
Milton,
like, you know,
like look, even some of the biggest, like toughest, craziest athletes. Like look at Miles Garrett. One of the best
yeah,
defensive player in the NFL.
Hmm.
He's a huge nerd. Like he has, I think, Naruto and Dragon Ball Z tattoos and stuff, and he's
Whoa.
yep,
all into anime and everything else. And it's like
yeah,
he's the biggest, baddest defensive lineman in the NFL, and he's a huge nerd. So like,
Wow.
it's like anybody can be a
well,
nerd.
I will say Miles Turner, who plays for the Indiana Pacers,
Yeah, the
big
Pacers.
Lego, loves
Yep.
Legos. Like he brags about, like he's like, yeah, I buy thousands of Legos all the time, and I'll spend a whole bunch of money on them, which is like, okay.
Oh, that's
I mean, you
awesome.
got athletes who go to Comic Cons who wear
Yeah.
masks and they try to hide their faces because they want to enjoy that type of stuff. I mean, hell, look at the tight end for the 49ers, George Kittle. He's
George
a huge
Kittle.
wrestling guy. Huge
Yeah.
wrestling guy. He wears
Did
wrestling
you know?
T-shirts all the time at his press conferences.
I forgot to bring him up back during the fall. Actually, I don't know if you caught this, Milton. You might have on Instagram. So, Chris, back during the fall, the Niners tight end George Kittle, he made him and his wife and like their kid or whatever. They dressed up as like he dressed up as like Mando and then Grogu and then
Mm,
whatever he made his wife dress up as. But yeah, him and his baby were Mando and Grogu for Halloween actually, and he's the star
yeah,
tight end for the Niners.
Dang, that's awesome.
yeah.
See?
Yep,
Chris, I'm telling you, these athletes, I mean, a lot of them, because again, a lot of these guys who are
they're
in their
like
prime,
32
their
years
20s,
old.
who are in their 30s and 20s, they grew up in an
Yep.
era of like we did in the sense of like video games, Star Wars, Son, like all that stuff. So now because they have these platforms, they're like, okay, I'm gonna just be who I am and just show it off and make it cool.
There we go. There we go. For my weekend Star Wars here, this happened to me yesterday actually because I was stumbling. I was like, "Oh, I don't know what to talk about this week. I don't know what to talk about this week," and I went down a rabbit hole in a way because I'm playing World of Warcraft again. I'm making this house of mine in the game. They have this new feature I've been checking out, and I was like, "Oh yeah." I'm gonna make a video about this, and by the way, you can watch the video on the channel now. I put it up this morning. It's called Cribs World of Warcraft Edition, and so I was looking for inspiration because I remember I was like, oh yeah, I made this video similar to Star Wars The Old Republic, when I had my Coruscant stronghold that I made a video about. So I went back in the history, and this video is like 10 years old. Talk about another mistake I made on YouTube. This was 10 years ago. I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, this thing has like no views or something. I'm like, wait a minute, why is this an unlisted video? I was like, oh my gosh, this video is unlisted for about 10 years. So I went again and just made it public and it uploaded it like immediately so you can watch that as well. But I was watching it, I was cracking up because I mean, I don't want you to watch it, but I also want you to watch it at the same time because you get to see me 10 years ago. And I look like a little kid, first of all. Yeah. And then there's nothing in this background. I'm in the same seat where I am now. I have a different headset. There's literally nothing behind me. It's like all I have on this shelf is a Lego Jedi Starfighter. That's it. And
That's
the
really
microphone
funny.
I'm using, it's the worst sound quality. Like you can only hear a faint voice of mine through the right speaker for some reason because I don't know if I'm using like a broken mic or something, but it was like a nostalgia trip down memory lane. I was making these corny ass jokes during the video, and I'm like, oh man, people might have to watch this. It's going to be great, but you know, it just goes to show you, like I've been.
We all got to start somewhere.
You got to start somewhere, and it was like 10 years. I'm like, what the hell? I've been doing this thing for 10 years now. So go ahead, check it out. I forget the title, but it's like one of my most recent videos after the Warcraft one. But there you go. We spent some awesome time here talking about our weeks in Star Wars, but I want to cut to the chase. I know people are wanting to know our feedback on this latest trailer for The Mandalorian and Grogu. But first, before we get into that, there was one release that came out this week for Star Wars, and it was Star Wars issue number 10. I have my review for that on the channel as well. You can check that out. That is the culmination of like the mainline, if you wouldn't even want to call it that, Star Wars Marvel series. It's now done. That's the last issue. We don't know what's coming next, although they did announce Rogue One tie-in comics, Ben. I don't know if you've seen that news floating around. There's going to be like one-shots of like things like Cassian, of what is it? Saul Guerrero's getting his one shot. Darth Vader's getting another one shot, of course. Sheridan Baze and Jyn Erso. And the funniest part, guys, I'd even put this on a list of stuff to talk about, but I might as well talk about it now because it's kind of hilarious. I feel like Star Wars has this thing where they're constantly demystifying every minute of time that's in between movies and TV
I have
series.
one example of that to think.
And everything like that. And this is the absolute epitome of that. So in the Cassian Andor story for this Rogue One Celebration comic coming out later this year, they're literally going to give us a story that's taking place between the end of Andor Season 2, in between when we see him on the station where we find him for the first time in Rogue One. So it's like, guys, there's like 10 minutes that happened.
I was about to say,
what the heck can we tell of a story within 10 minutes of going on to the... This is what I mean. It's like, guys, come on here. You couldn't have done a different story in between seasons 2 and 3 or something like that? I don't know. This is the epitome of craziness with Star Wars sometimes.
Sometimes they over-explain stuff too much. And like, to me, I have to give a shout out to them over-explaining. You remember, Chris, in the first certain point of view. So, Milton, I don't know. I don't know if you remember. I don't know if you had read the book Certain Point of View, Milton. But long story short, basically, you know the droid that explodes next to R2 in the Sandcrawler. That droid legit like sacrificed himself for R2 because R2 had a mission. And I'm not kidding you. That is a true canon story.
Wait. This is the same droid, guys, that we're dealing with in the Mandoverse. This is the same droid that we met.
He sacrificed himself and came back. See, nobody dies in Star Wars.
R5. That's R5.
Unless you're Qui-Gon.
I remember he was on Tatooine, and then I want to say her name is Marvin. No, Pelimoto. The little repair lady over there. It's like, hey, here's this guy. Here's this droid with a map to where you got to go. And ever since then, now he's on Mandalore. He's going around with them. It's like, what? How did this little freaking droid somehow stick the landing and is in the most popular Star Wars thing?
See, it's just too much over-explaining like that. Like, we don't need to know the droid sacrificed itself for R2 when it's like, when you watch the movie, it's like, hey, it's just the crazy coincidence, you know?
Exactly. Like, just give us that. We can we can fill in the gaps.
Yeah. So before we get into our discussion, one last thing: we go live on Sundays at 7 o'clock Eastern time PM. We also are available to download the day after we record, which is usually on a Monday or Tuesday. I'll get the episode up. So if you rather listen to podcasts, you can go ahead and find us on any podcast app. Just search Outer Rim Transmission. But we would love to have you guys join us live when we do record. So please hit that subscribe button, hit that notification icon, and follow me on my socials at Starrapter to know just when we go live. I usually will promote that the day of, the morning of. So without further ado, finally, we are ready to talk about the Mandalorian and Grogu. Fast fire at this one. I'm going to throw it over to you, Ben. We were just talking about the other trailer. First of all, then I'm going to go around the room with both you, me, and Milton. Are you excited about this trailer? Does this trailer do its job, as John Campia says? Does this trailer do its job and actually make you excited about the movie?
Yep. Oh yeah. Easy quick elevator pitch for this is definitely hit the the keynotes you want from a Star Wars trailer, in my opinion. It's probably honestly objectively one of the best trailers they've produced in years, considering the state of Disney Star Wars trailers over the past 5 to 6 years. So yeah, I think it was a really good trailer, and we can really dive into it, but for sure.
There we go. Straight over to you, Milton. Are you excited about this movie more than you were 3 weeks ago?
Mm-hmm. Honestly, like, I think I'm mixed on this, and that sounds like probably not the answer you want, because I don't know much about this movie yet.
Yeah.
I think I'm just kind of like, okay, I'm waiting to see more. But I think that's a positive because it did just enough not to tell me too much, but to show me what I'm familiar with, like seeing Mando, Grogu, that we saw the world of the Mandalorian. We've stayed with them for 4 seasons, 3 seasons. We
Yep, 3.
got to know these characters. So I think that's what makes me feel okay about the trailer, is because I've seen them in the show. The show's been done well. It was cool to see some of the new characters that they're going to show up in the movie. No plot was really given. So I was like, okay, it did its job on that end, but I didn't get excited for the movie per se. I think I'm just ready to see more. So hopefully I can continuously hype me up. So I think this was the first good step of this trailer.
Oh yeah, and for me, yes, I was probably the biggest skeptic, honestly, out of the three of us, and out of anybody I knew about this darn movie. And man, oh man, I don't know how they pulled it off, but I did a 180. I did a 180 on this one, and it's because of three things I boil it down to. And first of all, it looks more cinematic. It looks way more of a scope. It looks like way more budget. Obviously, the longer they work on it, the better the special effects in trailers will look, I'm sure. But then it was also, as you mentioned this, Ben, it had those bigger, like, trailer Star Wars reveal moments. I'm talking about moments like Embo. Like, oh, yeah, we got a cool, like, character that we heard rumors of, but he looked really badass. And then we get Din Jarin without the freaking helmet. I've been screaming from the rooftops, show us his face, or show us Pedro Pascal's face. Like, we know he's playing in the movie, and we know that this is a really cool character arc that they've left on the floor for a while now. Let's get back to that. So I was really excited to see that. And just the overall idea of story. And I know, Milton, that's part of yours. You still don't really know. But man, at least we're getting dialogue in this trailer. That's actually meaning something. Right. Like something, you got to go find this hut, and then the guy shuts the door. Who's apparently played by Martin Scorsese. This
he's like the voice.
Yeah, he does the voice of one of those guys. That's like the guy from Solo.
Right, which is funny because again, we all people beef with Martin Scorsese about his comments about superhero movies and whatnot. It's like,
I remember he was friends with George though back then.
Yeah. I mean, like, he's part of that. I guess that brat pack of actors back, directors back in the 70s and 80s, and I respect that. I mean, that's a brotherhood. But this is the same guy that was, pretty much shitting on superhero movies over the last, 5 to 6 years. You're in one now, buddy. You're in a big blockbuster superhero movie. It's just ironic, but hey, I'm not hating on him. He's doing a favor probably for his boy and being part of that legacy of Lucasfilm back in the day. I mean, look, I'm excited for this movie. I really am. I think my issue is with it. not with the trailer itself. I think I need to go back and rewatch the seasons because
Me too.
we've had a lot of distance
Yep.
from these characters. And so I need to go back and rewatch at least season 3 to kind of get a feel. Okay, what will season 4 be like? 'Cause I've honestly forgotten a lot of like the plots of those past 3 seasons. I know the big pieces, but what's now taken us into this movie? You know, besides Jabba the Hutt's son being a MacGuffin and all that type of stuff. And obviously, I know the New Republic is going through an up and down phase right now. But it's like, yeah, I kind of forgotten what this world was all about a little bit though too.
Yeah, yeah. So the species actually is called an Ardinian. So there we
Ardenian,
go.
yep, that's the
That's
word.
that was the same alien that Jon Favreau voiced in Solo Star Wars story, funnily enough. And here is another big Solo connection for me. I'm gonna throw this out there. This might sound very bold and very extreme coming from my mouth, but I'm willing to go on a bit of a cliff here and to say this could be my favorite Star Wars movie based on what I've seen. And when I say favorite, I don't mean like the best produced ever thing. Like I don't mean this is qualitatively the best Star Wars movie ever made. I mean it's could be up there with like favorite as like, oh, there's certain aspects of this movie that really hit it home for me, that really kind of grabbed it for what I have specific interest in Star Wars.
Yep.
And for me, it's the underworld aspect, and I'm comparing this with Solo: A Star Wars Story. Solo: A Star Wars Story is like the top movie as far as for me when you're dealing with the criminal syndicates, because you're dealing with Crimson Dawn, you're dealing with Maul, you're dealing with all these different criminal, the Pikes, all these different things that I love about Star Wars. It goes back to Return of the Jedi. You're dealing with the Hutts, Jabba the Hutt, and all his like people and all that kind of stuff. And what this is dealing with, like, okay, you have the twins, and they're back from the Book of Boba Fett. You have Embo, a bounty hunter that is most likely working for the twins, and you got freaking now Hutta. It's not
Yep.
confirmed, but it's gotta be.
I heard that. I heard actually. I can't confirm myself, but I seen someone post on social media that now Hutta is in the visual guide for this movie. By the way, so that is one thing to throw out there.
Yeah, you have Hut fighters. I try. We're gonna go do a breakdown again. If you're listening to the podcast version, I urge you to watch the video. Not just because I selfishly want likes on this video, but obviously, but you'll actually be able to see what we're actually going to explain that we're talking about, because I took lots of screenshots that I'm very excited to get into. Because one of those screenshots I did my best to get of is a Hutt starfighter. Haven't seen those in live action before. Again, big Clone Wars fan, going back to the animation, seeing these animated designs show up in live action, really cool stuff there. So absolutely love that. Love how we're gonna get like a new like Rancor like beast that the Hutts are most likely have as a dragon snake. We're gonna get into that. It's the thumbnail of the video if you weren't sure.
Yep.
And then you go to the other avenue and you have the Imperial Remnant. And I'm a huge fan of the idea of like these Imperials that have kind of just skirted the edge of the New Republic, and they've been scheming, and we've seen them all throughout the show and the series, and the First Order is kind of an extension of them. But I do like the idea of the Imperial Remnant, and we have like what looks like a Shadow Council and stuff like it's like, oh.
Yep.
And what I like about that is it shows that there's a potential of this really having a through line to some bigger storyline implications. And it, for me, when I seen that council scene, that little snippet, it's like, oh, there's actually a scope to this story. I feel like that Imperial Remnant storyline could make this movie not just a throwaway. That could connect us to Thrawn. That could connect us to some greater threats out there, where this isn't just a adventure of the week kind of movie and like a 2-hour movie. There could actually be some thread lines to other things. So between cool Imperial Remnant stuff, which I really dig, and then the criminal underworld stuff, I think this movie could be better for me than Solo was in terms of those specific laser focus interests I have when it comes to Star Wars. So I wanted to get that off my chest because I was thinking about that a lot today.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I definitely can see where you're coming from on that, and I agree with you on a lot of that. Like I think this movie has the chance to be, like you said, it may not be the best quality in terms of Empire Strikes Back level or anything like that, but or Return of the Jedi level, but it has the potential to be one of the most entertaining Star Wars movies. Because for me, there's a difference between like Star Wars movies that like obviously Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, I think, are the two best in my opinion. And Revenge of the Sith is close up there too. But I think like for me, some of the most easiest watch movies you have, like to me, like Return of the Jedi is an easy watch. Force Awakens is an easy watch. Like those type of movies are easy watches just because they're pretty snappy and well paced. And I think this movie is could potentially be in that vein. And I wanted to point out too before we really get diving into this trailer. I think one thing, of course, you can't measure everything on vibes of social media just because social media isn't even 20% of the audience. But if you looked around when they showed that when they dropped this trailer, the most important thing, 95+% of the comments, I would say, on every post you've seen, like anybody posting about this trailer, it was 95% positive comments, like people being excited, people being happy. I'm sure you've seen the same thing, Chris, the other day when this happened. Like all the comment sections, I clicked on Star Wars' official page, discussing film, every random account, Star Wars Holocron, whoever reaggregated the trailer, and all the comments for the most part were all positive, excitement. So it's nice to see people getting excited for this movie.
Yeah, it really is. They needed this, and I mean, I guess the argument is like, has it been too late for this promotion? Because I've already heard this from somebody else where it was like, are they? We keep going back. I keep going back to these Solo comparisons, and one of my buddies is like,
Solo. Let's just be real. Solo got butchered because Last Jedi crushed the fandom 6 months before it. Honestly,
Yep.
I think that's. I'll tell you this. This is my bold prediction. I don't know. You guys can totally agree or disagree with me. Solo. If Solo would have been instead of May, if Solo would have been December that year, it would have probably made $200+ extra $1 million. But because of Last Jedi butchering the fandom and the state of Star Wars that it was in, I think people were just checked out at that point, to be honest with you guys. I really do. And I think the interesting thing about this is, we talk about, is this too late for the marketing or whatever? That's just how most of these Hollywood films are doing it nowadays. They're waiting 2-3 months before the movie to come out before they start really amping things up, because honestly, if you're an executive at a studio, like I know I always talk about like the marketing side of things, but if you guys think about it, why start marketing even like 6 months out when every day, I mean, Milton, you watch that Star Wars trailer, for example, and you scrolled through the next 100 things you've seen on Instagram Reels, and you forgot the trailer in 5 minutes or whatever. So what's the point of pouring a ton of money into marketing 6-10 months out or whatever when people forget stuff 10 minutes later? That's the thing. Like with marketing nowadays, it's such a different landscape because it's such a what's the word, like microwave society where people just quick, clips, social media bites. And I think it's just a different way to market, like just because I mean, I read an article like back during the fall. There was an anonymous writer who did an interview with the Hollywood Reporter, and she was saying how studios are encouraging people to make movies and films in a way where people can consume them when they're glancing down at their phone, because they want them to be able to still consume the content, and like that's just part of the marketing process. Yeah, it was the interview was back during like October.
Chris, well, they're pretty much saying like they want to make, and I'm probably butchering some of this too, but they're making TV shows and movies kind of dumber.
Yeah, that's basically what the gist of it was.
Yeah, what happens is, like, again, they're pretty much hating on Gen Z people because they're saying, like, and I don't blame them, it's because most people are on their phones. They're on their phones and they're looking up. They're on their phones and they want them to repeat the plot. So if you get a glance of it, or at least I know something's, the same thing, or I can at least kind of track it instead of moving the narrative story along. It's lazy because the fan base or the consumer is lazy. So I think that's a detriment to a lot of these movies, these shows.
It's just getting applied to marketing now,
right? But that's how they do it. I mean, you can't market Star Wars like you did in 1997, 98 when you were hyping up for the new prequel. You can't even market for Star Wars when it was 2013, 2014. You know what I'm saying? And that's 12 years ago because the market and the consumer has changed. Unfortunately, you got to adapt with what you got. So,
Well, like if you
yeah,
guys think about it, to like not to like turn this into a Star Wars marketing session, but like if you guys think about it, the one of the most probably the most famous moment in Star Wars Disney marketing history is the Chewie "We're Home" line from Force Awakens.
facts. Yeah,
Okay,
easily.
so that line though, if you drop that trailer a year ago, if you drop that trailer a year before this movie comes out, like say if the movie was coming out this May, like Mando was, if you drop that trailer last May, people will get excited about it early summer 2025, and then they'd see Superman coming out in Jurassic Park and all these things and yada yada, and they'd forget all about Force Awakens. Like
Yeah.
that's just the life cycle. Because I mean, heck, I got excited about that Steven Spielberg movie coming
Oh
out,
yeah.
and I asked one of my friends about it, and he's like, "Wait, which movie?" And my friend watched the entire Super Bowl, but he was, in commercial breaks, he was on his phone and didn't pay any mind to it. And I was like, the Steven Spielberg Alien movie that's coming out, dude. And
Yeah.
it's just like, people don't pay attention to stuff anymore when commercials are on. They just, I mean, I do it. I look at my phone during a commercial break.
Yeah.
So it just
So
makes it tricky.
it does. It does. I think we're gonna dive in, guys. I think we're gonna dive in to some awesome imagery from this trailer, and we're gonna start off with a banger here. And this is just a beautiful sunset shot that is, they've done this a couple times. They've done this. This evokes the that one film, the Francis Ford Coppola film.
Oh,
Milton, you could save me on this one. I know you're a film buff.
Oh, is this
Apocalypse Now.
it's an older movie.
Apocalypse
Yes.
Now. Yep.
Yeah, they've done this shot in The Mandalorian, and they've done this shot in The Force Awakens with a TIE fighter. But yeah, this is awesome. I mean, it's just showing, again, scope, scale. We're going to get like Mando fighting alongside what's basically like Rogue Squadron to a certain degree in this film, which is going to be so sick. But,
Yeah, no, it's a
oh yeah.
gorgeous shot. I mean, I love the color. You can definitely tell. They looks like they put some time in it. It looks like a
Hmm.
type like an epic type shot, like something from the Odyssey or from Troy or something like that. It got that cowboy feel to it. Yeah, it's a gorgeous shot. I mean, I think this is something that a lot of filmmakers mimic, and there's nothing wrong with it. It works every time.
Hmm. Again, this is where one of those shots, and they had a teaser before the trailer the day before. I was saying, "Oh, the trailer tomorrow." This was in that shot, and I was like, "Okay, I'm actually feeling better just from this 15-second teaser clip because, again, it shows like, oh, this doesn't really look like something you would find on TV." Even though I kind of acknowledge that there was a moment in Mando where it was, but still, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, we had several X-wings that automatically makes it look better for me.
All right.
Next up, we have a droid. And this droid looks pretty much exactly like R2. It's an R2 astromech. I believe it's a red coloration now. People are out there speculating, oh, this could be R5. You just changed this dome to look just like R2 now.
Mm.
I mean, it might
Yeah, I
be.
mean, this shot. Yeah, this. I mean, it doesn't do nothing for me per se, but it's cool to see. Like, I guess some fans will say, "Oh, it's nice to have the robots again," and
Yeah.
the lived in feel of Star Wars. So I respect that. I'm sure there's some CGI mixed in with this, but it is nice to see any droid within the Star Wars.
Yeah. And the next one here, this could have been a shot from any of the 3 seasons or the
Right.
two, because we haven't seen the Razor Crest at all in season 3 because it blew up, and now it's somehow mysteriously back. Um, but yeah, it's a classic shot of Mando and Grogu, little quips here and there. Mando telling Grogu, "Hey, don't hit those buttons ever." He's hitting them, and the ship is not starting. So classic escapades of this pair here.
Oh yeah, I'm excited to see where they find that. I mean, heck, maybe what if it connects back to that trailer from the Super Bowl when they were on potentially Hoth? Like, what if they find Echo Base and like find a downed Razor Crest style ship in the back of the hangar or something, and like maybe like that. I
Yeah.
don't know, because they got to get it from somewhere.
No,
I guess they
I
could
want.
go to
Maybe
the car dealership.
Yeah, yeah, because
maybe they go
it's
to
got
Naboo.
special yellow markers markings on it.
Yeah. Hey, maybe they go to Naboo. Maybe we get a little shot of Naboo again. That'd be kind of cool.
Speaking of planets, If this turns out to be the Akuma, oh gosh, I'm trying to pronounce this word that I don't think I've spoken once in my life, but I'm going for it. Accumulapolis, right? Is that how you say it? Like a citywide planet?
Sounds right.
They actually
Oh, I
mentioned it
mean,
in The
I just
Mandalorian. But
okay.
anyway, I know at first glance you guys are probably like, oh yeah, it's probably Coruscant. I'm calling it now. I think this is
That's
Nar
what I thought.
Shada. I think this
You
is
know
Nar
what though?
Shada.
Wouldn't it be cool? Wouldn't it be cool if they pulled like from Legends? Because I think the original city for Coruscant was going to be was it Hadabadan, or is that what the original city name for Coruscant back in the day
No
before
I
they
think
made
idea.
it
so.
Coruscant?
That
What
sounds
if they
right.
like pulled from that lore and like, oh, this is Hadabadan, another city planet?
Oh.
That'd be kind of dope. I would say that'd be
Because
kind of
they've
cool.
pulled from Legends and stuff before with the Mandoverse. That's
Yeah.
the interesting part about all of this.
The thing is, the reason why I think it's Nar Shada is a couple reasons. First of
Mm,
all, at least in Legends and maybe even in canon, I'm not
Yep.
sure completely. If we're going to Nal Hutta, Nar Shada is basically the distance with our planet to the moon. It's like literally right
mhm.
there. It's so close. If we're already going to be on Nal Hutta, I can kind of piece together a storyline with this movie without even really knowing any of the plot. Like they're gonna end up on Nal Hutta. The twins are gonna be like, "Oh, Rotta
Mhm.
the Hutt is leading a gladiatorial arena after Gracchus
Yep.
the Hutt went to Megalopolis prison," and where is there a prison? Or where is there a gladiatorial arena that's been in canon Star Wars? It's with the Star Wars comics from 2015 when Luke, Han, Leia, and Chewbacca had lightsabers and they're running into this
Mhm.
arena. There's a stormtrooper captain named Sergeant Creel that had a green lightsaber, and he was dueling against Luke Skywalker between the events of Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. And it's like it's already been established that that planet has an arena. We see Mando fighting in the arena against Rotta the Hutt later in this trailer. It just seems like if it's not Nar Shada, I'll be very, very surprised. And I
Yeah,
really
that'd be
want it
pretty
to be
crazy.
because this is a planet that's not even hit animation yet,
Yeah.
or canonical video games. Like it was all over the EU, all over Legends. Like even if you go into Star Wars: The Old Republic, where I know it the most, is you can actually fly all around there, go to the casinos. It's again, this is why this movie might be my one of my new favorite Star Wars movies. If we go to this location and we are seeing this hut run Las Vegas, if you will, of the Star Wars galaxy. Like that is just such a cool vibe that we haven't really
Yep.
gotten. We've gotten to like the high upscale casino planet with Canto Bight, and not everybody likes that planet. Pretty much, I think I'm the only one on this podcast that might like it. But to see the more unscrupulous kind of dingy and a little rougher around the edges casino planet would be pretty cool.
Mhm. Yeah, no, that'd be interesting. I mean, again, I think just if they wanted to really like pull fans in, like the sweaty fans like us, if they pull from the EU with this planet and just get us something that we didn't expect, that'd be so dope.
And that's what it
I
is
mean,
all
obviously,
about.
it's. I think a
I
lot of it would. Go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead, Milton. I'm sorry.
I was just saying, it looks obviously like a Coruscant type planet. Um, but I think Nar Shadar would be kind of cool. I mentioned Had Abaddon as like the other city planet back in like the
Yep.
EU. But I don't know. I just think this is the opportunity where if you're Disney and Lucasfilm, you're trying to win back fans. You pull from the EU stuff to say, okay, we're going to expand the world some more. I think that's one of the criticisms that the Disney Star Wars have been fair to receive is their lack of world building.
Yep.
But I think that's something that you can take the opportunity with this particular property because it is popular and you can introduce new things in Star Wars with this movie.
Oh
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
I agree. I think the big thing with all of these things, like that entire discussion, they need to take into, or that entire point, they need to take into mind because, like, I think like including something like Nar Shada, it's really cool for us three hardcore fans, but the difference is it's enough of a concept where it doesn't matter if you have a general audience member watching it because all they need to know is it's this dingy criminal whatever
Mhm.
planet. Like, so like there's you might as well just make it Nar Shaddaa and just go with it, like that's always been my argument of like including things like this because, like, even character introductions like Bo-Katan, for example. All they needed to know she was a kick-ass Mandalorian chick. That's it. Like, that's all you need to know.
Right.
Like, and it's just that easy. And they can do that with these planets where, I mean, look, you got the guy who's the terrible actor in Phantom Menace, like, briefly explains Tatooine to Anakin or whatever when he's flying, like,
Yeah.
like, or whatever Olay or whatever his name is, like, he briefly explains the planet and it's just like boom, quick, like that's all you need. You just need a quick general description of these
Right.
places.
So Chris, what if the planet we're looking at right now, what if it's Coruscant, but this isn't unfamiliar. They're taking us to the level 1313
I would be
because
down.
I would say because Jabba the Hutt's son is in this movie. We know the
Yep.
Hutts are about the underground in the belly of the underworld type stuff. Wouldn't it be cool to go to those different levels of Coruscant, 1313, or other levels that we haven't heard of or have heard of? That would be kind of cool. Maybe we're just getting a quick shot of something to that extent.
Yeah, and we do have, this is why I always plug to comment in the chat, because we have a hot comment coming in from Dark Nerdy Gonzo back on the show. Abaddon was supposed to be the planet of the Empire in the early drafts of Return of the Jedi. Later on,
Yeah.
it got canonized in Legends for Star Wars Legacy
Right.
Comics.
And I think it was similar to
That's awesome.
like
Cool.
some type of city planet ish of some type. And I could be completely wrong. I just remember reading about it when I was younger and as I got older. But if they pull something to that extent to where we saw something of that nature, it'd be kind of cool if it made sense for the story. I'm not saying just throw it in
Yep.
there just because, but I just think about those type of things from canon or from Legends. It's like, man, like this would be an opportunity to pull that in to kind of piece those pieces together, but also make it organic.
Yeah. And then this is one of the moments where I watched the trailer. I was like, oh, now you got me interested. It's moments like these where we see these vast cityscapes again. A, with something that I didn't expect, which was nice, and B, something that looks like it has larger scope. In that first trailer that we ever got, it played it so safe that there was nothing literally new in any of those shots that went go, ooh, here's something new and exciting. It just felt like it was all stuff we've seen. This trailer, it feels like it's a lot of new stuff. There's some familiar stuff like the shot with the cockpit with Grogu and Mando, but everything else seems pretty good, including this shot of an Ardinian voiced by none other than the Hollywood superstar himself of directorial, Martin Scorsese.
One of the best ever.
Ben, like, this guy is an outspoken guy against Marvel and pop culture movies, and yet he's voicing a character. I didn't see that coming, honestly.
Yeah.
Right.
The funny thing about this is, a lot of us, a lot of people may have their doubts about this movie, but like, I mean, other than a payday, obviously at the end of the day, it's cash for him. But what if he has confidence in whatever story they're trying to tell? Like, he's been so outspoken about pop culture and stuff. Like, maybe he looked at this script and was like, "Hey, I don't mind lending my voice to a good, solid sounding Star Wars movie and stuff." So, like, maybe it's like, hey, that's a good sign. Like, we've gotten Scorsese on board. Like, I don't know. I just think it's always good to have talented people involved with Star Wars, and the fact that, like, if you guys think about it genuinely, I mean, okay, obviously he's not a creative on this movie whatsoever. He's a voice actor, but he is the most successful director, like, that's technically been involved with Star Wars. Like, if you think about it, he has more accolades than George Lucas, really. I mean, awards wise. Like, if you think about it, like, Scorsese is the most accoladed director that's ever been involved with Star Wars, and it's a voice actor part. But hey,
Yeah.
Well, I mean, let me actually trump that a little bit.
actually, I guess Spielberg kind of like.
I'll say Spielberg did direct a scene in Revenge of the Sith.
That is true, actually.
Oh,
yeah, and Spielberg is the goat.
scene where
So
Obi-Wan was chasing, he was chasing Grievous in
Yep.
the robot scene, whatever it's called. I forget what, like the motorcycle scene.
Utapau.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that is true. Okay, yeah. So Scorsese is the second most accoladed director that's been a part of Star
Yeah.
Wars. But yeah, no, I think it is really cool seeing him involved. Like it honestly, like the fact that we're getting someone who's been so outspoken, notably outspoken. Like for me, when I seen that news,
Yeah.
I had to requote the article, and all I put was cinema hashtag Mandalorian and Grogu.
Yeah, that was great. That was great. This next one gets me, again, more intrigued. And we knew these guys were coming, or this guy and
Yeah.
girl, whatever. These twins that we've seen in Book of Boba Fett. They weren't in the first trailer. They were nothing in promotion, but yet they were on a teeny little spot on the first poster reveal. And we're going, huh? Wait, what? Those guys are in a movie? Those guys from Book of Boba Fett? Well, here they are, front and center, in a Jabba the Hutt type of abode. And this gets me excited because I'm going, oh, we're connecting again. We're connecting dots here. We're connecting Imperial Remnant. We're connecting storylines from the Book of Boba Fett. This is the beauty of having an interconnected, smaller universe within the Star Wars galaxy at large. Where, hey, this is really going to be fun for the people that have watched every season of these connected shows, because you're going to go, oh, I get rewarded by knowing who these characters are. Oh, that's a cool cameo. Oh, we get to see these guys. Oh, this connects. Maybe we'll see a cameo of Boba Fett himself. I'm really hoping for that. But what are your thoughts on these characters, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really cool. One note about it too, the little lines that they did have in this, they spoke in Basic actually, not Huttese, and I thought that was interesting. Considering they spoke in Huttese and Boba, which I mean, I don't know. It's
Oh, I didn't
interesting
know.
seeing that. Yeah, that's one thing I think people missed when they watched this trailer was they spoke in English. So
Oh,
it's just like
Well, that's not uncommon.
interesting.
I think doesn't Boba not Boba, Jabba's cousin or uncle in the
yep, Zero
Clone
the
Wars
Hutt.
Yeah,
movie speaks basic.
yeah, he speaks basic, but you know what I mean. It was just interesting because they spoke in Huttese to Boba, and then it was like in this it
Yeah.
was English. So it's like I wonder what the context of this scene is as to why they wouldn't be talking that way. Like maybe they're on a different planet, or you know, or some other reason. But yeah, I'm excited to see. Like you said, the big point about all of this, though, Chris, is the connections between all of these things because say what we want, whether we think this movie's the best thing ever or mid or bad. At minimum, it's going to tie up like loose ends for all of us who put in the work per se watching all of these series. Like we'll get the payoff, we get our Hut twins, we get our whatever, like all these things like coming together in this movie, which I really appreciate.
Yeah, for sure. Getting into the next one here. And we'll quickly go here. This is the other thing I'm really looking forward to. The Imperial Remnant. Now, as much as we're talking about known locations, it'd be cool to see Hoth, but I would also like to see another Arctic location, frigid location in the Star Wars galaxy brought back from Legend. Speaking of Nar Shada, bring back the resting place of one of these Sith Lords, Eula Kaldroma. Bring back Renvar, buddy. Bring it
Yep,
back.
shout
Bring
out
it back.
Battlefront 1.
Yep.
Mm.
Or you know what I remember
Maybe
Renvar
this is
from? That, but it was also in the Clone Wars video game. There was a Clone Wars video game with
Yep.
the LAAT Republic gunship on the cover. You know what I'm talking about for the GameCube and all them.
Yep.
That was when Renvar and you're in a fighter saber tank, which happens to be one of my favorite vehicles in Star Wars, and you're like they're talking about Sith Lords, ancient Sith Lords, and you're like trying to destroy this orb thing in the snow planet Renvar. I always remember that for some reason.
Right. Maybe this is where the First Order is, starting up, or at least being planted, because this looks like potentially Star Killer Base, or at least
Yeah.
the early workings of it.
Oh my gosh, can you
Um,
imagine?
Honestly, I mean, listen, that's what the First Order becomes. I mean, the First
Yeah.
Order is
Yeah.
the Empire remnants
Makes
going
sense,
away
too.
to regroup. I mean, I think people forget. George Lucas looked at history when he looked at the Empire, compared them obviously to the Nazis. People forget at the end of World War II, the remnants of the Nazi Party left to go to
Yep.
Argentina and South America to try to rebuild from a distance and then rise back up. Easily that was wiped out, and there were some things that will infiltrate it throughout governments. But look at the First Order. Like they did the same thing, but they were successful. So I think in what we're seeing with this movie and obviously with the Mando show, Empire went away and they're slowly rebuilding. So this is maybe one of those meetings that they're talking about Star Killer Base, or there's hint to that, or there's hints to Thrawn or Snoke or whoever. I don't know.
Yeah, so if you're looking at the transformation of Starkiller Base, if you're not aware, everybody listening, watching, Starkiller Base originally was Ilum, which was the historic planet where the Jedi went on a pilgrimage to usually obtain their Jedi Kyber crystals, the very mystical versions of the Force over the entire planet, especially in this one cave. So then you play, fast forward to after the events of Order 66, you're playing as Cal Kestis. At the end of Fallen Order, and Milton, you've played this more recently than I have. You actually go to Ilum, and you could actually
Yes.
see them digging out trenches that would later become the beginnings of Starkiller Base. And at that time, he doesn't know that. Obviously, he should know that. But I think that's always a cool, like, little canon tidbit of the power of, like, the timeline of Star Wars. Again, to see cool stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, I could totally see that. Like, Mando shows up there, has no clue what they're doing, and I don't know what would happen in that, but it would be kind of neat.
Yeah, I mean that'd be a hell of a pull to tie in, the sequel trilogy. We can talk about that trilogy all you want, but just to tie it in and trying to strengthen it through this movie to say, hey, we're seeing the secret meetings. I mean, we got some of this in the Mando show with the Secret Order, or whatever they called it, with the Empire gathering once in a while. But yeah, man, like that'd be kind of cool to see some of that in the fold. Like the Empire is much more interesting than the New Republic and the Resistance. We all know this. Like anytime the Empire's on the screen, we're watching it.
Yeah.
So make it interesting again. Put these guys where we're somewhat familiar, but say, oh my God, they're building this, or oh my God, this is how they're starting it again.
Yeah.
That's what pulls it in.
It would be really neat if we get to see one of those characters is Brendol Hux, and then the father of Armitage Hux, and then we get to see
this would be the opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we also have the character of Pelion. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, because you could have them talking about whatever's happening in the present in this movie, and then Pelion basically being like, "Hold on, I'm getting I'm in contact with, Supreme Commander Thrawn or Grand Admiral Thrawn or whatever, and yada yada yada." And like you could bridge to the next project. You could bridge to Ahsoka season 2, honestly. So I think there's a lot of, like Milton said, whatever. Like, we like the Rebellion and Republic because of our main characters, but in terms of true interest, everybody's interested to see what the Separatists or the Empire or the First Order are doing, just because it's, bad guys always have their more intriguing side.
Yeah. On to the next image here. We have this on first glance, on first clip here. It's a really funny shot of Grogu just giving the salute to somebody, just like a yes sir kind of thing. And I just think that's hilarious. And he's got that Mandalorian Beskar armor. But now
I bet it'll be to Carson Teva.
Oh yeah. Now I'm staring at this. I'm going, they're on sand, and there's another shot in this trailer. It almost looks like a Dune Sea kind of thing. I'm thinking we're going to go to Tatooine, and stay with me here. I'm going to go speculating crazy. I think the beginning of the movie, they go to Tatooine, they talk to Boba Fett, and he's like, you know what? These people aren't really abiding by my leadership. They want a Hutt in charge, and he says, I know somebody. The son of Jabba the Hutt. And last he was seen was on Nal Hutta. So then they go, okay. They go to Nal Hutta, and he's not there. And then the twins go, yeah, he's on Nar Shada. You got to go across space over there. Okay, and then they go there. This is like the most simplistic plot ever, but that's my way of getting Boba Fett in the movie, okay, guys?
I mean, Star Wars isn't The Godfather, so I could see something along those lines roughly, to be honest with you. I mean, but yeah, I mean, I don't mind that idea. And like, the thing is, I could see this being let's just say this is Boba they're talking to. I could see it being some cute scene for the audience, of course, where you got Boba says something, whatever, some snappy Tamara Morrison one-liner of like, "Oh yeah, go take down the Empire, kid," or like I
Yep.
don't know, just some generic thing,
Yep.
and Grogu salutes him because it's cute. I could definitely see that because they already have a relationship built up. So again, like you mentioned earlier, Chris, it pays off from the Book of Boba Fett.
Yep. Yep. Next up, we're gonna speed this along a little bit. We're getting into this next action shot. This is a really awesome shot, a one take shot, similar I love one take shots. Going back to Daredevil season 1 on Netflix, like just these long drawn out combat one take, just visceral action, and you see Din coming out, flamethrower going off, grabbing the other guy's blaster, shooting the other guy, walking away, then just does a one last shot, and the guy's he's walking away without even looking. Like that is some badass Din Jarin right there. And one thing to note is there is a new stormtrooper design, or snowtrooper rather. These guys, they don't have that like full face hood that you would see, the flowing cloth. They have the same kind of top of the helmets with like the same kind of eyes, but their mask is almost like a Vader esque bottom half that replaced the Empire's cloth like covering. So it's an interesting design. It looks like very much like a Ralph McQuarrie inspired design, but yeah, it's good to always see some new designs out there in any Star Wars entity.
Oh yeah, it's great to see them pull from potentially older designs
Mhm.
and such. I mean, we've seen them do it before in the animation, live action, whatever. So it wouldn't surprise me.
Yep. Next up, we have Adelphi. This is the base we've seen at the end of Mandalorian and Grogu when he first met, or at the end of season 3 of Mando when he first meets with Zeb, and that's where the New Republic's base is. That's where we have Colonel Ward, who is played by Sigourney Weaver. We see her right here. We get to hear from her. Um, Again, crazy speculation. I'd love to see her as a plant by Pelion or one of the criminal warlords of the Empire. I would love to
Or
see it
Thrawn.
like Thrawn, like playing the
Right.
long game here, putting the New Republic in a completely different realm of space where they're hunting nothing, and instead in the other side they're building Starkiller Base, or something like that, where they're giving them the wrong scent to do this job over here. She's just the long term person doing that. So I don't know. Let's do something interesting. I want to get to the end of this movie and have them pull out the rug from underneath of us, because I know everybody's counting on this movie to be so simple and so straightforward. But I want to see
Yeah.
everybody lulled into that false sense of security. And then you get to the third act and people go, whoa, that movie totally blew my mind with that plot twist. Like, I hope something like that happens.
We have to remember, guys, like, everyone's dogged on this movie. Let's just call it for what it is. Everyone's dogged on this movie because people think it's going to be as simple as can be, whatever. But we got to remember, this is also coming from the director who completely kept under lockdown from anybody that Luke Skywalker came to Mando season 2. So
True.
this is the thing. Like, I just think there has to be like a little bit more to this.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. Now here we have Grogu force levitating a all-terrain mouse droid. First of all, let's
Yep.
think on that for a moment. An all-terrain mouse droid. It's got these big monster wheels, and he just takes out the outer shell, and it's just showing his powerful, man. He trained the Luke Skywalker. He's knowing how to better channel the force. So great demonstration
Right.
there. Next up here, these were based on toys we had seen and talked about last week, me and you, Ben, on a lost episode that will constantly make references from here until who knows when at the
Yep.
time. You got modified commando droids with capes running around, aka similar to like maybe Star Wars Outlaws ND5. So, and in the same shot here, you can see that the Hutt fighters are getting shot out there. So it's like, man, they're really going on high alert. The fact that they're sending out so many fighters, like, is the New Republic like about to come in and attack? Like, that's the only thing I could think of. Like, they're not going to send out all these armed forces after one guy, would they? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
All right, so this is not the easiest thing to see if you're watching, but this is a shot of Embo with his good old hound, the Mastiff. I'm not sure if it's the same one or not. People were saying, can't take credit for this, that this could be this could be Din Djarin's home on Navarro, and
Oh,
Mm.
wow.
maybe this is what gets him out of like early retirement, because we see, and that's the thing, right? We see like it irised out on this really nice moment at the end of season 3. It's like the story of these two could end right here, right now. Grogu and Mando live on in happiness and peace and quiet for the rest of their lives. And we're going, wait, why are we making a movie? Maybe this is what's going to happen. He's going to come in, stir up
Yep.
the pot, and they're going to be on a mission to figure out what the heck this guy was doing. I don't know, but it's cool to see him. Like I think we were talking about this rumor a while ago, and I'm thinking you're crazy. That this guy's going to be in this movie. This animated character that doesn't even speak basic. Like what the heck are we doing with this character? But I don't know if this is the first time we see him and he's showing up menacing like this. This would be pretty
Right.
cool. It's another
I
bounty
think
hunter. So it's a bounty hunter versus
we
bounty
put
hunter.
eyes on this character. Clone Wars. I remember weren't they like on a snow planet or something? Like they were
Yep.
chasing this
Yep, and he
character
was
was like throwing
surfing.
his
He was
helmet.
like snowboarding on his hat at one point
Yes.
down the mountain.
And I was like, yeah, he looks pretty badass with him sliding on his helmet and throwing it like a Captain America disc or something.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like I would love to see that. I mean, yeah, put that in live action. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Yep. So here we have another close up look. It looks like now that I'm looking at it, the male twin. I don't know we don't know his actual specific name. I think he's got that frog jar that Jabba would stick his hand in and grab those frogs out every once in a while. It seems that way. So that's a cool little continuity check there.
Hey, the Hut snacks.
Yep. Now this could be now Hutta, but it also looks very striking. It could be Dagobah. Like that would be crazy if we actually go. I doubt it. It seems like there's already so many planets that you can name drop just from halfway through the trailer here.
Yeah, the interesting thing about all of this stuff going on, obviously we're breaking down the images, is the voiceover that's happening like through this trailer. To keep in mind for context, you have Din Djarin talking about like, Grogu's not always going to be having him in his life.
Yeah.
And then, you also have the other character. I don't know if you have the screenshot of it, but the character that's talking to Grogu where he's saying about you'll be scared or you'll.
Oh, I got it coming up.
How did he? What do you say?
Yeah, I have it on here. I have it coming up.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, we'll get to that in a minute.
Talk about how Lucasfilm has been absolutely nailing the translations of animated characters into live action. Now, it's a very quick shot that took me a while to get a good freeze frame of, but from what I can see, what you guys can see watching is this is our first official look at Rotta the Hutt, going all the way back to the Clone Wars, and damn it, they nailed him. like they nailed his cute little Hutt face is now mature, and he's built. He's a Hutt that's got muscle.
Oh boy's he's on the sauce.
Yeah, Stinky's been lifting weights.
This is great
He's
because
he's on all the gas, all the sauce. He looks good.
looks so cool, and I can't wait to see this fight. Like,
Which is so
Lateef
funny,
Crowder.
like Ben, you say Stinky. I think it's so funny how we're getting this character in live action, and people who've probably never seen a Clone Wars movie, which is obviously part of the show, they're going to go back and look at this and say, that's this character. People shit on that character. It's like, he's going to be a badass now, trying to wreck one of our beloved characters.
It's so funny seeing him now, like, over maybe a year and a half ago, it was hilarious. Like, the reporter Bespin Bulletin, his source told him that Rada was looking really swole, was the exact word he heard from a Lucasfilm source, and it was like, is that really what I should report? Really swole, and it turned out to be true.
Oh man, so that's the character you're referring to, Ben. It looks like it's a brand new species in Star Wars. It's very interesting. This guy's got these words, and it echoes Yoda in Empire Strikes Back.
Well, guys, there's a huge thing behind it. And Chris, I think you'll really appreciate this.
Huh.
This could be just pure imagery from Favreau because of, he loves to do his callbacks to Lucas and just everything and yada yada. But I heard in canon, they already canonized from a 2014 or 15 or 16 comic, whatever. They canonized Yoda's master, and it's that same species as this guy, and this is the same species as Yoda's master in Legends as well.
What the
mind
hell?
you. Yeah, and think about it, and he's talking to Grogu and talking about being fearful or whatever, and it's just like Favreau could be doing it as like just a little callback to like Yoda's master or whatever. But the interesting thing is, we have Din Jarin also talking about Grogu needing to go on his own path and whatever else, yada yada. So like, what if we have this huge connectivity thing of like this guy potentially was Yoda's master years and years and years ago, and somehow has like lived and sees this kid that reminds him of Yoda or something, and like bumps into him and gives him some wisdom or whatever. Like, so that's the interesting thing that I've seen people throw out there. Like, this is legit, like pretty much the exact same species as that character from Legends, and I guess there was like I said, he was referenced in one comic
That
years
is
ago or something.
insane because I don't remember the reference in anything that I've read, and I've read everything, I think. But
Yeah.
I pride myself on that at least a little bit. But that would be mind blowing talking about like hundreds of YouTube videos going up like the next day after the movie comes out. Yoda's master revealed. It's like in this movie, Yoda's master gets revealed in a Mandalorian and Grogu movie. What the heck is going on? And I think we could if there's stuff like this, Milton, that gets revealed. I think we're all going to be kicking ourselves going, remember when we all thought this movie was going to be just some bland action adventure movie? We're getting absolute epiphanies revealed in this damn thing.
Again, if it works, then sure, I'll be all about it. I mean, hopefully, I just want it to work. So if that's the route they're going to take to try to swerve us a little bit, sure, as long as it works and it's not over the top, and it makes sense.
Yeah.
Funniest part about that is,
Yep.
if that does turn out to be Yoda's master, that would be hilarious. They showed the reveal in the trailer.
Yeah. Let's look at us though. He's mostly just like a no-name dude, like
Most
in a
likely.
swamp. But speaking of an Empire Strikes Back callback, people are saying that this is the dragon snake that we might, not the same one, but
Yep.
the same kind of species we might have seen a little bit of in Empire Strikes Back on the swamp of Dagobah when Luke lands or crashes rather in the swamp. So if that's the case, it's again, what I like about this movie is there's so much action in here. Like, oh my gosh, like we're already talking about Gladiator scene when he's fighting against Sav Rips and all these other things, including a hut. And now he has to go toe to toe without his helmet, by the way. Without his helmet. And he's going against this thing that's just ginormous. Like, how is he getting out of this thing alive? I always love seeing that. Like, imagining how do characters get out of this futile death situation?
Oh yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how they navigate with Mando in this movie with these types of sequences because, like, he's facing opponents that are more and more tough. Like every time we've seen him lately.
Oh yeah. So this shot, not the best screen grab, but it's the best I could do at least. It looks almost like a scene out of, honestly, The Rise of Skywalker, if you ask me, because it looks like that scene when they're flying on Pisano on the speeders and they're getting away from the First Order, and he's saying, they fly now, and he's stormtroopers flying in the air like.
Right.
This one, I'm like, this has got to be Tatooine. It doesn't have to be. We've said that so many times that we get duped. Jakku, no. Pisana, no. It's never Tatooine. But regardless, we have another desert planet in Star Wars. Here we go. We got Garzeb Aurelios himself. Looks better and better every time we see him. I just love the translation from animation to live action. Very cool to see a Lasat like this, and it was awesome, guys, to hear Steve Blum's voice in this, Wolverine himself, in the trailer.
Oh yeah, it's awesome.
He looks really, really good.
and this would remind me of like that's the scene on Nar Shada. They're trying to get out of here. I think that's called a Savrip. They are native to Ord Mantell. The only reason why I'm so specific about that because I played many hours of the Old Republic, and the starting planet for smugglers and troopers is on this planet where you often have to fight against these things. So another cool Legends pool. And their first,
When I first saw this
yeah.
character, I thought it was Killer Croc from Batman.
Oh man,
That's
nice.
funny.
So it looks
Yeah.
like
Now I can't unsee that.
it looks like the Mandalorian is literally referencing itself now because we have a baby Greedo, as people are calling it already, or baby Rodian in a pram looking for help.
Mm.
And then this is great. At the end of the trailer, Grogu gets in his pram and it goes turbo mode. And then you see Din turning on his jetpacks, and I instantly got a Jango Fett vibe from Attack of the Clones because I just love the visuals of all the neon lights, and you're seeing him blasting off super fast, and it just looks really awesome. And even in this shot is even better. So he's got like a modified speeder pram, Grogu, and Jango's just flying right next to him. I can't wait to see this. This is gonna be awesome.
No, it looks good, and I do appreciate this shot because I mean, obviously there's green screen that we're seeing, but there's some. It looks like this is a set partly too. You can't really tell in certain shots of it, but I really love the CGI, the animation look of it. Some of the real set pieces. It's cool to see that it's like a weird buddy cop with this particular shot. Whenever you see Grogu and Mando next to each other.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep, and we couldn't end the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer without another little Grogu funny moment here, cute Grogu moment, kind of like what we seen in season 2, I think it was. He's got the cookies back. Mando's taking the cookies away. Say, have to have dinner first, and he's got the one cookie. He's just eating, looking at him. So, of course, we're gonna get all that. We're gonna get all those little cute Grogu moments for all the mainstream people. Or whatever fans like it, but that's just how it is. That's how it is. But yeah, I think we'll see plenty of badass moments, just as many, if not more, than the cute Grogu moments. But yeah, that was the trailer for the Mandalorian Grogu, and that was the trailer that I was looking for. Really enjoyed breaking that down with you guys. A lot of stuff that we gleaned, a lot of speculation, especially on my part. I was going a little bit overboard with this, and I do not expect to believe that is gospel. What I was thinking in my head. I'm trying to keep my expectations in check, but there's definitely room for a lot of potentially really cool moments where we come back here on the podcast later that weekend when the movie comes out and we just start going crazy. Because I think this movie needs that to happen because this is, the first Star Wars movie that we'll have in 7 years. It's got to be memorable. It's got to make us excited about the franchise more than we were 2 or 3 years ago, right? This is the point of Star Wars having movies back in a theater. And as Ben, you said, this is like the first good trailer for anything we've gotten in a while. No, I'll take that back. The Maul Shadow Lord trailer was great. First live action trailer. Live action trailer we've had. Maul is literally around the corner. We're going to be talking about those episodes every week that they come out. But yeah, really fun breaking that down with you guys. We're going to wrap up shop here, but Milton, where can the people find you? Thanks for being on tonight and for all the good commentary as always.
Yeah, you guys can find me on Twitter at MiltonWeber7 or Instagram at Milton7Weber. Hit me up. We'll talk sports. We'll talk Star Wars, pop culture, whatever. Just keep it cool, keep it positive, and we'll have a good conversation. Appreciate you guys watching and listening.
There we go.
Yeah, and I mean, they can find me talking pretty much about the same thing: sports, Star Wars, fitness. That's pretty much it. At Real Ben Maynard on X and Instagram, and like he said, thanks for everybody watching. It's always a good time, whether it be people in the chat or people after the fact. It's always a great time talking about Star Wars.
Yes, Dark Nerdy Gonzo is saying the master's name is Bima Ook. I don't know if I'm not pronouncing that correctly, but there we go. So yes, as always, you can check out the YouTube channel. I have a couple of pieces of new content, whether it be 10-year-old videos of me looking like I'm not knowing what I'm doing, try to record a video with a house in Star Wars, to a newer version of that with World of Warcraft, and to me talking about the ending of a Star Wars comic line that's been going on for 10 months. You can find all of that on the channel right now if you're listening. It's going to be youtube.com/Starrapter. If you aren't listening and you want to listen to us on the go, just search Outer Rim Transmission. But until next time, thanks for watching, everybody. May the Force be with you always, and transmission.